Good morning. It's March 12th, 2010, Chinese Arbor Day, because that's not ironic with them pumping tons and tons of carbon into the atmosphere every day because they're burning mostly coal and just destroying the environment in general, and they still have an Arbor Day. But that also means it's Friday, so it's time for this week's What the Friday? Okay. This week's story comes to us from the docket of the Supreme Court. So, Albert Snyder, father of Marine Lance Corporal Matthew Snyder, has brought suit against Fred Phelps for intentionally inflicted emotional distress when Mr. Phelps and other members of the Westboro Baptist Church protested at the funeral of Lance Corporal Snyder. Now, this kind of raises a whole lot of issues because, yes, Fred Phelps is an asshole. Yes, he is perverting the Word of God to promote an agenda of hate, fear, and intolerance. However, as a United States citizen, Mr. Phelps does have the right to freedom of speech, freedom of peaceable assembly, and freedom of religion. It's important to remember that the Founding Fathers put these basic rights first and foremost in the Bill of Rights, that these are the most central rights necessary in order to preserve democracy. Everyone has to have these rights equally. And, I don't agree with what he's saying, but he does have a fundamental right to say it. Now, the question really is, does he have a right to say it in that manner, in that venue? So, the members of the Westboro Baptist Church followed all local laws, obeyed all instructions from police during the protest. So it would appear at first that they were within their rights. And the Federal Appeals Court of the Fourth Circuit actually agreed with this. They ruled unanimously, 3-0, against Mr. Snyder in favor of Phelps, saying that, these signs are horribly offensive, but he is within his rights. And this is an interesting case because I don't see that either result ends well for America. I think if the Supreme Court rules in favor of Phelps, that is going to encourage him and others like him to continue to protest at these funerals, which is just a horrible, despicable thing. And if they rule in favor of Mr. Snyder, that's setting a precedent to begin to infringe on, basic American rights of free speech, freedom of peaceable assembly, and freedom of religion. So it's going to be interesting to see which way this goes. I think the previous Supreme Court case that we're probably going to see mentioned in the final opinion is the famous 1988 case, Hustler Magazine Incorporated v. Falwell. This case was famously dramatized as the film The People vs. Larry Flynt. And essentially, Hustler Magazine published a parody of Mr. Falwell that he took great offense to. And though a jury did award him damages, the Supreme Court ultimately overruled that case, saying that Hustler Magazine was within their First Amendment rights. Now, in this decision, the Supreme Court made a couple of different points that are worth noting. The first, which really distinguishes that case from this case, is that it was parody. And as parody, no one would be reasonably expected to believe that content to be a reporting of facts. And as such, it isn't subject to libel laws. This is clearly not the case. This isn't parody. This is, protesting at a funeral. So that's different. Also, the Supreme Court said that Mr. Falwell, as a public figure, did not have standing to seek damages for intentionally inflicted emotional distress. Well, the question is Mr. Snyder a public figure? I would argue that he's not. So I think the Supreme Court's going to reference that, but it's not clear which way they're going to go. If we look at recent Supreme Court decisions, it does seem that they are leaning towards expanding First Amendment rights. So as you may recall recently, the court decided 5-4 to allow corporations the same kind of political voice that individuals have when it comes to campaign ads. So essentially that a corporation can have free speech. So it would seem that the court is likely going to rule in favor of Phelps. Let me know what you think of that. Leave it in the comments. That's pretty much all I got for today. So this is the Sugar Man reminding you, as always, drive slow and hurry back.